You have found the Weird and Surprising Facts podcast. Welcome to the show. In this episode, you discover an animal species who could potentially live forever, how much air in the body humans actually replace with each breath. You're going to be surprised at how small that number is, and you're going to learn that bicycles, well, they really can fly. All of that and so much more in this episode of Weird and Surprising Facts. Stephen Carter, your host for the Weird and Surprising Facts show. Thank you for joining me. Who is this show for? If you have an interest in that which is strange, weird, unusual, you are in the right place. If you would like to learn about facts, weird, strange, unusual, that you can use to impress friends and family, well, you're also in the right place. If you would like to take a deeper dive into any of these stories, check the show notes for more information. In this episode, we're going to have quite a little bit to share about breath and breathing. Let's begin with dolphins. How long can dolphins hold their breath? Well, dolphins can hold their breath on average between 8 to 10 minutes, and in some cases, they can stay underwater for up to 15 minutes. Speaking of dolphins, there are 32 types of dolphins. What you may not know about dolphins is they are mammals and they are members of the whale family. Dolphins have a pair of lungs and breathe through a blowhole in the top of their heads. They sometimes dive very, very deep to catch fish and other animals. They can go down into the ocean, 1,000 feet. Give or take. And they are so cute. They have such a wonderful smile. As I mentioned, they can hold their breath from 8 to 10 minutes, and on rare occasions, they can hold it for 15 minutes. How about humans? Well, we fall a little short of our dolphin cousins. Humans, on average, can hold their breath for 2 to 2.5 minutes. There is a land animal that can actually hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. That's 40 up to 40 minutes. What is that animal? Sloths. Sloths can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. They do that by slowing their heart rates. As you may know, they move very slowly, and they can actually reduce their heart rate and hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. When and where, might you guess, the first documented feature film was made? Well, your first guess might be Hollywood, and of course there were films made in the United States before Hollywood became the home for the filmmaking capital, certainly in the United States, and many would say the film capital of the world. But the first ever documented feature film was made in Australia in 1906. Are you a fan of flamingos? They are beautiful creatures, but if we have a group of flamingos, what might that group be called? A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Flamboyance, Flamboyance. Thus the word flamboyant, an apt description when you think about how beautiful a group of flamingos would be. Unfortunately, war has been a part of human history since, well, we have recorded history. We've certainly had long and protracted wars, and we've had shorter wars. What might you guess is the shortest war in history? That war was between Great Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. It lasted 38 minutes. That war lasted 38 minutes, and it is the shortest war in history. Is there an animal on Earth that could conceivably live forever? It turns out indeed there is. There's a species of jellyfish that can be biologically immortal. The Turritopus doranil can revert back to its juvenile form after reaching maturity, and that great feat allows it to potentially live forever. There are many museums in the world, some huge, some not so huge. This is, however, a unique museum located in Japan. Japan has a museum dedicated to rocks that look like human faces. The name of the museum is Shinseiki-kan. I believe I have that pronounced right. And the translation, well, that means Hall of Curious Rocks. And it contains more than 1,700 of those curious rocks. And I guess they all look like human faces. Have you ever seen a bicycle that flies? We have seen a few scenes in various movies where bicycles are flying, but we now have something in real life that we can call a flying bicycle. British inventors John Foden and Yannick Reed have created a bicycle that can fly. The Explorer Paravello is composed of a folding bicycle and a lightweight trailer that contains a biofuel-powered fan motor. That motor turns the fan, and with a long enough runway, it can reach up to 25 miles per hour in the air. There are multiple uses of padlocks. We can use padlocks to lock gates, storage sheds, and other structures. What might you guess is the heaviest padlock in the world? The largest padlock in the world weighs 916 pounds. 916 pounds. That mammoth padlock is found in Russia. We've talked about the breathing ability of dolphins, of sloths. How about human beings? Well, we did touch on that. We said that humans can hold their breath for 2, perhaps 2.5 minutes. One surprising fact is when humans take a breath, they replace only 15% of the air in their lungs with fresh air. Our friends, the dolphins, on the other hand, when they take a breath, they replace 90% of the air in their lungs with fresh air. And you might think, well, dolphins breathe through their blowhole, but it turns out in 2016, scientists discovered a dolphin with a damaged blowhole, and that dolphin could breathe through its mouth. How fast does a sneeze travel? It turns out a sneeze travels at about 100 miles an hour. That is some serious speed. Let's get on our flying bike and take a trip over to Egypt. We would likely need a time machine as well, but here's an interesting fact. In ancient Egypt, servants were covered in honey to attract flies away from the pharaoh. With that interesting pharaoh fact, I will say thank you for joining us for this episode of Weird and Surprising Facts. To listen to previous episodes of the show, visit weirdandsurprisingfacts.com. If you have not yet subscribed or you're not following this podcast, this is a perfect time to do that. When you follow Weird and Surprising Facts in your favorite listening app, you will never miss an episode. Until our next visit together, your host here, Stephen Carter, wishing for you and your loved ones blessings in abundance.